You know the feeling? You sit down for your quiet time, Bible open, heart ready to listen, and then comes the knock at the door, the crying child, or a last minute request. Frustration rises. This wasn't the plan. But what if the interruption is the plan? What if the very thing we see as an obstacle is actually an opportunity to experience God's presence in a new way? That thought came to life for me one quiet morning. Hi, I'm Crystal Storms, an author, artist, and your guide to finding rest in Christ. Welcome to the Heart Rest Podcast, episode 24. If you're feeling overwhelmed, weary, or simply need a reminder that His grace is enough, you're in the right place. Each episode will explore biblical truths and practical tips to help you trade your weariness for oneness with Jesus, so you can experience the deep rest your soul craves. So let's settle in and draw closer to His heart. I had settled in my chair, soaking in the early stillness, listening for God's voice. Then, knock, knock. I paused. It's too early for a salesman. I wasn't expecting anyone, but someone was knocking on my door. With a sigh, I set aside my Bible and went to the door. Standing there was my neighbor, shifting his weight nervously from foot to foot. "Sorry to bother you," he said, eyes apologetic. It took a few minutes to figure out the details. His internet was down. His computer stopped working. His car was in the shop, and he had no way to make a call. Compassion stirred in my heart. Offering my phone seemed like the simplest solution, but he glanced at it hesitantly. "I'm used to a rotary," he confessed. So I invited him inside. I sat beside him on the couch and helped him dial each number. The computer repair service, the internet company. He'd found each number through the yellow pages. We waited together through hold music and long pauses. He looked to me for how to navigate the pushing of numbers. Minutes passed. My morning schedule slipped away. Yet instead of frustration, I felt an unexpected peace. I had asked to hear from God, and then my neighbor knocked on my door. The timing was too perfect not to be from him. Sometimes the knock at the door isn't an interruption, it's an invitation to encounter God in the unexpected. But I'll be honest, interruptions don't always feel like divine invitation. More often, they stir impatience. We see them as obstacles keeping us from what really matters. Yet God often works through what we see as disruptions. The unexpected phone call, the child needing comfort, the neighbor in need. They're not random. They're moments designed to draw us closer to God and reflect His love to those around us. So, how do we begin seeing these interruptions differently? Let's explore 3 ways we can shift our perspective and discover God's hand in the unexpected moments of our days. 1. See interruptions as invitations. Interruptions aren't obstacles, they're invitations to trust, serve, and encounter God in unexpected ways. Hebrews 13:2 reminds us, "Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, Some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. What if the very thing that feels like a disruption is actually God extending an invitation? Maybe He's inviting you to pause your plans so you can reflect His love through an act of kindness. Maybe He's drawing your attention to someone who needs a listening ear or a compassionate heart. That morning, my neighbor's knock wasn't a distraction from my quiet time. It was the answer to my prayer to hear from God. God often speaks through the unexpected. The question is, will we recognize His voice when it comes in a form we didn't anticipate? 2. See the pause as a place to invite God's presence. When our plans shift, we have a choice: resist the interruption or invite God into the pause. As I sat beside my neighbor that morning, waiting through hold music and automated prompts, I found unexpected moments to pray. With each pause, I whispered silent prayers, thanking God for the opportunity to help and asking Him to guide my day despite the change in plans. Interruptions can become sacred moments when we invite God's presence into them. Instead of seeing delays as wasted time, we can see them as opportunities to connect with God. A simple prayer like, Lord, what are you doing here? How can I join you? Can shift our perspective from frustration to faith. And when we pause and seek His presence, we discover that God is always near, ready to turn even the most unexpected moments into opportunities for His grace to shine. 3. See service as a way to extend His love with open hands. Trusting God with interruptions means holding our time loosely and being available for His purposes. Each morning, I begin my day surrendering my plans to God. I ask Him to guide my steps and use me however He chooses. But let's be honest, it's easy to write out a to-do list and cling tightly to those plans. That morning, I hadn't even written my top 3 priorities before the knock came. Yet God had already determined the most important task of my day: to show love and kindness to my neighbor. Proverbs 3:5-6 reminds us, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. When we trust God with our time, we discover that He gives us enough time to do what truly matters, even if what we do looks like nothing we had planned. The next time your plans are interrupted, pause. Instead of reacting in frustration, ask God how He's moving in the moment. You might be surprised by the peace that washes over you as you partner with Jesus, turning what seemed like an inconvenience into an opportunity to reflect His love. Because sometimes the knock at the door isn't an interruption. It's an invitation to encounter God in the unexpected. I've created a free resource to help you in this journey: the Divine Appointments Journal, this printable journal with prompts that help you reflect on life's interruptions. Look for God in the unexpected and shift from frustration to faith. Visit crystalstorms.com/episode 24 to download your copy. And remember, Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Each episode, I want to offer you a question to journal about or simply contemplate. What is one recent interruption that frustrated you? How might God have been present in that moment? Thank you for joining me for episode 24 of the Heart Rest podcast. My prayer is that today's encouragement about trusting God with life's interruptions helps you create a rhythm of rest in your life. Remember, life may be complicated, but true rest comes when we keep first things first and release the rest into His hands. If you want to dive deeper, visit crystalstorms.com, where you'll find resources for this and every episode. And if this podcast has blessed you, I'd be so grateful if you left a review. Your words not only encourage me, but they help others discover the Heart Rest podcast and find rest in Christ too. And if you know someone who could use a reminder that God works through life's interruptions, share this episode with them. As we close, I want to leave you with this quote from Priscilla Schreier's book, Discerning the Voice of God. Sometimes when we get interrupted, we think, this is preventing me from doing what I was supposed to do. What if the interruption is what you're supposed to do? Until next time, may you rest close to His heart and live from His peace.